Alright guys, in this video I'm going to show you how I get a Vue project that I build using the Vue CLI running with Tailwind. And Tailwind is such an awesome CSS framework or library that I absolutely love working with, but it took me a bit to figure out how to get purgecss working in a Vue project that I make on the CLI. So I'm just going to make a new project here. I've got a couple of presets that I like to work with. So Vue Router, Vuex, Babel, ESLint, all that good stuff. I don't generally use TypeScript these days. I'm just going to wait for that to build and then I'll come back. All right, so we've got our fresh project. So I'm going to pull in a couple of dependencies. So Tailwind CSS, get that one. Get that good Tailwind CSS. God, this is a good framework. Thanks, Adam. And then what else we got? We need some postcss. And then what else? We need the postcss-cli, postcss-cli. This will give us a command that we can use in our scripts to run postcss. All right, so we might set up. So now that I've got this, let's do np. I'm just going to copy it across. Let's just do it this way. So npx tailwind edit full. I just like using the full one. Just then that way I can see all of the values and add to it. I sort of need a little bit of prompting as I go through and tinker with it. So I'll just initialize the Tailwind config file that way. Let's open this in code. Cool, so we can see we've got our Tailwind config. Now first up, we are going to, I'm going to want to just make sure that this is referencing the output CSS that we use in the project. So stylesheet, and we want, I'm just going to make a styles. Cool, so that means it's going to find that. Next we'll make the input file, so we'll go css styles.css, and we'll go over here, we'll grab the Tailwind bits. So we can just roll with nothing but Tailwind for our CSS for now. Cool, so that's our styles, yes. And then what else? What else do we need? What else could we possibly need? Okay, so I might just get the script in here. Now I have a pre-built script or pre-written script that I've just been using, and it is CSS build. So then this way I can just run css::build, and it will, because we've pulled in the postcss CLI, it's now, when it runs a script, it now has access to postcss as a word to fire that one off. It grabs the input file, so this is in source, source css styles.css, and then it specifies the output, which I want to send to public/styles. So it will output into this folder here in the public folder. So now under normal circumstances, and I'll show you what we would do under normal circumstances, we would have down here in our postcss where it runs this command, we go Tailwind CSS, and then we point to the config file, which is .tailwind.config.js. Cool, so it's just going to reference that, then it will do the auto prefixer. So this is under normal circumstances if you're not using PurgeCSS, and we'll get to that in a few moments. But if we go npm run css build, so the name of the script I just put in, it's going to output this as a style sheet. So should be able to see, so here's the styles, and we can see now we've got a full fat CSS with all of the Tailwind classes included. So that's fine for tinkering around. It's all right if you're playing with it and just using it for demo purposes and for development, but you are here because you want to find out how we can get it working with postcss-purgecss. So let's pull that into our project. So we're going to npm install full human postcss-purgecss, which is this bad boy right here. So purgecss, and we'll just hit install. Cool, so we've got that in. Now, how do we get the package.json to include that? You might have thought you go, okay, well, let's go purge CSS or something similar, and then you start passing it options. But that I'm afraid is a fool's errand, because it just doesn't seem to want to accept any of those options when we pass it into the package.json. So we're going to remember this and create a new file called .postcssrc.js, and this is where we're going to put all of our module exports. So we're going to replace this entirely, and we're going to put it all into postcss-rc file. So I've got all of that copied over, so you don't, or I've got all of that ready to copy, so I don't need to force you to watch me type it out. But we can see here it follows pretty similar conventions. So we've got plugins like it was in the postcss section, and we've got require Tailwind, and you're pointing, so you're calling it Tailwind and you're pointing to the Tailwind config file. So wherever that is, so you might have put your Tailwind config file in a different location. Make sure you are putting it to the correct location within your folder. Auto prefixer always included, and now we've got require full human postcss-purgecss. So content in a vue-cli project, I tend only to include the Vue files, just because in a Vue project, the only files worth looking at are generally going to be a Vue file. If you do have any other random HTML files, you might want to specify them individually, but in a Vue-cli project, chances are you're just going to be working with .vue files all over the shop. And of course, you do also want to point to your index.html. We do that just because you might want to put, say, a piece of styling maybe on just the body tag or thereabouts. You might just want to apply a class to the body or something like that. And then down here, we also specify CSS. So this is the input file for your CSS. So where all of your CSS classes are coming from. And then we also include this. So we're telling PurgeCSS what to look for and what to match as a class. And now we'll see if we go back over here to app. So we can see here, I might just give everything a class of BG gray 900 and text orange 500, just so you can't miss it. Let's go over here, let's serve it up. Cool. I wonder why it's not showing me the text. Orange 500. You know what it is? It's probably because everything in here is already styled. Yeah, it'll be local styling. Cool. Well, I wonder if I can just text. Yeah, cool. All right, so you can see some of these classes have been applied. Some of them are overridden because we're just leaving it with these basic styles applied. But now let's go over to our command line again, and we'll run the same npm run css build, and now it's going to reference that RC file, and it's now going to follow the instructions that we've given it in this file. Ooh, actually, no, it won't. It won't have, and I'll show you why. So you can see it's all still sitting in there, and you're thinking, oh, I wonder why that is. It's because we haven't removed this. So let's get rid of this and run the command again. All right, so let's have a look at the styles again. Cool. Oh, that's a little bit smaller. That looks nice. Now let's go down here and we can see all of the classes that are left in here. So we've got BG Gray, text orange, and text2xl. So those are the two classes that I added just before. You can see that it's pulled out all of the additional CSS classes that Tailwind ships with, and it only leaves behind those that are actually in use. So it means our actual styles CSS file, where are we? What have we got? 9 kilobytes. Beautiful. That's a work of art. And that still includes all the comments that were left in there, so we can remove those comments to get it even smaller, and then once it's gzipped, it'll be a tiny little file. So that's it, my friends. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, make sure you give it a like. Not that I care about subscribers or likes at this point, but it does make the Google machine recognize that this has been a helpful video, and maybe it might help other people find it as well. Anyway, take care guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.